Shalom. Wait a minute. It's a special one. It's a special one today. Shabbat Shalom. It's not a regular Shalom today. Today is a Shabbat Shalom. Prince Yehoshua, Shalom. Humble log keeper, Shalom. Yashayahu, Shalom. Francis Johnson, Shalom. Good to see y'all. I didn't expect to see nobody here, because the other guys are going right now, right? And I can't compete with those guys, right? At all. You know, we humble over here. We real small over here. We real lowly. You know, this ain't McDonald's over here. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is the mom and pop burger over here. You know, you over there, you know, over there, they got that mass produced joint. They ain't got a lot of time. You know, they can't really focus. They can't really hone in on this love. You know what I'm saying? It's organic over here. You know what I mean? You know. And we gonna go into this thing. You know, remember the Sabbath, right? Keep it holy. Exodus 20:8, right? And it's like sometimes, right? Sometimes you're seeing something and you're receiving it in a repetition so much, right? That it loses its power, it loses its potency. You know what I'm saying? How many times have we heard, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy, right? And it became so redundant that we didn't even realize we forgot the Sabbath. What remember the Sabbath mean? It mean don't forget it. Don't forget the Sabbath, right? And we can forget the Sabbath a lot of ways, right? Over time, like a Christian, it took them a long time to forget the Sabbath, right? Took us a long time to forget the Sabbath, right? To where it ain't even a part of your life no more, right? You ain't keeping no Sabbath at all. You don't even know what a Sabbath is. You 20 something. You ain't never heard of a Sabbath, right? That's one way we can forget the Sabbath. What's another way? The Sabbath has come and you ain't done nothing to get ready to keep the Sabbath, right? Now you running around, you doing all of this stuff after sundown. That's another way you can forget the Sabbath, right? Now you're doing your Sabbath and your Sabbath, you know, ain't complete. You're missing this, you don't have that, you didn't go out for this, you know, and it's not peaceful because you're suffering, right? You're suffering because you forgot these things for the Sabbath, right? What's another way we can forget the Sabbath? We will deliberately put something else over the Sabbath, right? The Sabbath becomes less important than something else, right? Remember the Sabbath. Why are you remembering the Sabbath? to keep it holy, right? What is holy? Separated, right? Portioned off, set aside, set apart, right? Different than any other day, right? That's holy. That's a holy day, right? It's not like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's a different day. It's a holy day. It's a set apart day, right? That means the things that you're doing on all of those other days, you're not doing on this holy, set apart, separate, portioned off day, right? That's what that means, right? So you could chop it up and slice it and flip it upside down and do whatever you want with it. You can switch it up any kind of way you want to, right? That don't mean forget this day, right? And do things on this day that you do every other day, right? If you go, and what's the common thing we do every day? Go to work, right? What's the common things we do every day? Fight with people, right? That's any given day. You could get into an argument, right? You're supposed to feel that argument, see that argument coming on the Sabbath day, and say, no, I'm not spending my Sabbath like that, right? And back up off of that, right? Everything you're doing on a regular day, you're not supposed to be doing on a Sabbath day, right? And of course, we have great everything we talk about, it's optional, right? If you feeling some kind of way that day, don't do it. Do what you want to do, right? That's rule number one. With us, everything is by choice. If you don't want to do it, right, you know what consequences come with all of your choices, right? And they're not going to be from a man, right? Your consequences are going to come from the Most High. I believe in the Most High. I don't believe I have to do anything to anyone, right? I believe if you wrong the Most High, if you're doing things that the Most High says don't do, you can go your way and you're going to pay, right? Because you didn't wrong me, you wronged him, even if you wrong me, right? And that's how you can see somebody's faith. They will tell you who they are by their faith and the things that they believe. I don't believe I have to make anybody pay for anything. My father is going to get you, right? I be praying for my father to please, I'm looking at you and I know what he said, and I see you disrespecting that, right? Even sometimes while I'm talking to people in my head, I'm saying, Father, please. You know what I'm saying? People will tell you what they believe. Watch them. You know, a man will start talking and he will tell on himself. And that's why we got to have discernment, y'all. Right? We got to have discernment. Discernment is able to catch things, that ain't put on a platter for you. Everything ain't gonna be put on no platter for us, you know, but we gotta keep it holy. We don't do things on the Sabbath that's done on any other day, but you have freedom. Our God is a free will God, and he don't want you fake, right? He don't want you keeping the Sabbath, but you hurting in your heart and you yearning really to be doing something else. If it's like that, he like, you might as well, you know what I mean? He's not happy with you. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we got to do it in cheer, right? We got to do it in joy. Now, it's a different story if you're new to it. Of course, we got to adjust, you know. Of course, everything, you know, starting out is going to be rough, you know. It's going to be rough. It's going to take some getting used to. And that's okay. You know, squirm in your chair, you know, turn it, you know, do what you got to do to stay in your seat, right? And, you know, become accustomed to, you know, the habits, the good habits, you know, that you would rather have in your life. All praises to the Most High for that, you know. But everything you're gonna hear us talk about, and I'm not gonna be the only one either. You know, we got some ox. They're gonna start talking. They're gonna start talking. They talk too. Uh, but yeah, we gonna spread this out. I'm not gonna be the only one talking. And when we get into our teaching and things like this, man, we got some other things going on, man. Our Pentecost is wrong, but we gonna go into that. We're gonna go into that. Uh my Akpayam, he broke some things down and hold up, hit the lemon water real quick. He gotta break down this code. We've been doing it wrong, but I'm gonna let him explain that when we pull him in and he start talking his talk, you know. But everything, people are making things, you know, they use words like doctrine a lot, you know, and doctrine is a strong word, you know. You hear words like doctrine and you'll begin to run, you know, and it beefs things up, you know what I'm saying? And it makes things appear away, right? And it's to scare people off and it's to run people off, right? So everything we doing over here, it's you know, it's optional, right? Because we do have grace, right? And we can do what we want to do, and we are grown, and we all got to answer to the Most High for our own self. You know what I'm saying? Not by any man, right? We are here for support, right? And people say that, and then they start bossing you around, right? And excommunicating you and stuff like that, and finding ways to punish you and things like that, and giving you a dunce cap and all of that, and separating you from the rest of the family, with a certain jacket on your back and things like that, you know, or like you in school, you know, the sit in the corner syndrome, you know, everybody got a punishment for us, you know. We ain't dealing with none of that. We ain't dealing with none of that, you know. Uh we talk big on forgiveness. We don't forgive. We're not a forgiving people, right? It's crazy. It's crazy to me, man. You know, uh I'm realizing that now that I'm separated and I'm free, you know. uh while you in another man's house, you got to go by his rules, you know. And when you're humble, things don't really bother you, you know. It don't bother you. You could sit through anything. You could deal with anything, especially if your skin is tough, you know, like mine is, you know. It's a lot of things, you know, that it's hard for things to bother me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not easily bothered, you know, and that's why I almost died, you know what I'm saying? Because I was in pain, but I didn't think I was in enough pain to die, you know, and that almost cost me my life. So I could sit through a lot of crazy stuff, and not be bothered. You know what I'm saying? But man, since I've been free and I'm looking at so many different things, and y'all are gonna start seeing these things too, because I'm speaking it, right? And man, you're gonna be happy, man, that we are where we are, and everybody is looking at everything like doom and gloom, and it's the end of the world. Oh, Brian's done broke off, and Elder is talking bad about him. You know what I'm saying? And my existence, you know, when everything was all right, my existence was never enough for him to go into things, regarding me the way he is, when it's bad. You know, you never seen him show this much attention on the other end when it was supposed to be love, right? Now look at this. Every day it's about me. And he's all scrambled up, he's taking videos down, he's putting them back up, he's looking real unstable right now. But Salakia, I didn't mean to really go into that right now, but it is on my mind, but I'm at peace though. And that's another thing that we got to understand about me. Just because I address something or I bring something up, it don't mean that I have come out of my peace. You know what I'm saying? I'm at peace. My heart is at peace. I've been at peace. I don't know how to be out of peace. I've been in peace, for so long. 10 years. 10 years I've been in this peace, right? So, you know, regardless of what you're looking at, you know, uh, I'm big on forgiveness, and none of this was ever supposed to happen. I was just supposed to go on and do my own thing. I didn't have a problem with that church, right? But this is what they got to do. They got to make things the way that they are, so that the last thing that y'all would think about is coming over here with me, where things are better, right? Things are definitely better, right? Or depending on who you are, we grown Hebrews over here, we don't need somebody beckoning over us every moment, keeping us in line, you know, and things like this, right? Uh, we don't need to do that, and we're not the people who need that, you know. We are a higher caliber of a Hebrew over here. Over here, you could just step into here and look around and see what everybody else doing and pretty much figure out what you should be doing, and then you follow suit and you do that, right? You don't need drill sergeant Major Payne, poking his finger in your chest and punishing you and belittling you, and you know what I'm saying? We don't need all of that over here, you know. But you know, everything is optional, man. If regarding the meat and everything, it's not, you know, a doctrine, right? Strong words like this, right? If you don't believe me and you don't think something's going to harm you, keep eating it, right? And then when you in that doctor's office and he telling you what he telling you, he gonna tell you what's wrong with you, and he gonna tell you how to get right. And when you walk out of that building, I'll be here, right? And you can turn a lot of this stuff around, right? You you could build your liver back from 25%, okay? You can have a quarter of your liver left and build it all the way back to 100%, right? So when your eyes turn yellow, you know, from liver problems, we can bring you back from a 25% of a liver, right? We can do this. Kidneys are harder, but kidneys will mess you up, y'all. I'm supposed to be laying all around the place right now, in pain, looking crazy right now. I'm not supposed to be sitting up and perpendicular and speaking to y'all in the manner that I'm doing and running a mile every time I hit the gym and lifting weights and you know what I'm saying? Doing all of this stuff and eating half of the stuff I eat and things like that. I'm not supposed to be strong enough to handle that. I'm not supposed to be filtering any potassium and phosphorus, but I do still, you know. I eat a lot of salads, you know. I'm supposed to be on a salad limit, but I eat all the salad I want, you know. I'm doing a lot of things that people with bad kidneys ain't supposed to be doing. So all praises to the Most High, and it's because of how I live my life, right? You know, but yeah, we're gonna be waiting. You know, when you find out, and most of this stuff is curable. You know, when you come down with that cancer, we can rid you of it, right? Y'all might remember times where I just lost a whole bunch of weight and just got bone skinny like Snoop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had cancer at those times, right? I came down with things. I was real weak. I couldn't think about running 2 steps, right? I tried to take off running one time out of the rain and fell flat on my face. I was so weak one time, but you wouldn't know it unless you try to break into a quick movement. So I'm walking fine, you know, and I'm picking up things and I notice like, oh man, I need to start lifting some weights or something. I'm weak, you know. You realize taking the groceries in the house, man, this is like stringent work, you know. And I was weak and I didn't have an appetite. And you know, I would just fast for nothing, right? Because I'm like, I already don't have an appetite. I might as well just fast, right? And I was fasting a lot. But really, cancer patients, they really don't eat. You know what I'm saying? So I was blaming it on that. But yeah, and it happened. And man, I'm shrinking up. And every time I got on the scale, I was 5 pounds lighter, you know, and I had all my height at that point. I'm shrinking now. I'm like 6'3" now. I used to be 6'5", you know, but at that time, I had all my height. I was 6'5", and I had gotten down to like 160 pounds. And that's bone skinny when you're 6'5". Okay. Uh Yeah, but I'm getting up in age, y'all. I ain't 50. Put the 50 on me or nothing. You know, I'm in my 40s, but I'm getting up there. I'm shrinking now. And that's what men do. They hit their highest height, and at some point they turn around and they start coming back this way, right? They start shrinking. But you know, we got to get our health together, y'all. The children of Israel is sick, y'all. And sickness comes on us by curses. There's things that we're doing wrong. We're living wrong, right? And curses, every curse ain't deliberately put on by the Most High as a punishment for us, right? Some things are just law. If you do this in the land, there's a consequence for that, right? So, you know, he ain't even tripping off of the pork no more, you know, the way he was. You know, he translated that to me. You know, he filled me up with that emotion. He don't care about pork. He ain't tripping off of that, right? That's why we got grace. That's why I can eat a piece of sausage right now and not go to hell, right? It ain't about that. It's about what it's about to do to you, right? You know, he ain't tripping off of it. He was, you know, it's different when it's brand new and you have a rule and you're trying to establish it, right? It's gonna be stringent. I just told y'all to never do this again, and then this brother doing it. Kill him, you know what I'm saying? Because I need to set an example for all the rest of y'all, right? Now, through all of this time, you know, when the Israelites was going, we knew not to do that, you know, and People died for it and all kind of crazy stuff for it, right? And then here comes Yeshaya. Uh, he says something like, uh, let him without sin cast the first stone. And then everybody gotta drop their rocks, right? Because everybody got sin, right? So nobody has the right to be stoning anybody because we all guilty, right? So that sends all of that out the window, right? That's out the window. So I mean, things are established now. We know pork is bad, right? And we know it's against the law, right? But look at these people who are eating pork still, right? Are they dying? No. Do they bite? Do they bite a pork chop and fall dead? No. Do they bite a pork chop and get stoned? No. Right? Nah. You go into a breakfast cafe and it's bacon everywhere, right? Nobody's falling over, but they're gonna go to that doctor and get some bad news one day, though, ain't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, their arteries is clogged up, right? They can't do something, they can't wash the dishes without breathing hard. How you washing dishes and you can't breathe? Feel what I'm saying? That's how we pay. That's how we suffer, right? What's the wages of sin? What is the wages of sin? If you sin, you're gonna die. Period. Period. You want to know what sin is? What kills you, right? Thou shalt not murder, right? If somebody gets shot and die, there was a sin there, right? If somebody poison you, right? You don't stick something uh in the food of somebody that you love, right? Love does no ill to its neighbor. Somebody sinned against you. If you take a drink or a plate of food and it kills you, somebody poisoned you, that poisoning was a sin, right? If somebody tell you, okay, I'm gonna heal you, you got this ailment, you're sick, I'm gonna give you this medicine, right? Or so-called medicine, right? And you're gonna take it and it's fixing one problem, but it's messing something else up and it's killing you, right? It's destroying another organ or something like this. Then that medication is a sin. If it's a mineral in your food that doesn't come from the Most High, right? And it gets into your body and you have no idea that it's harming you, right? And it starts as inflammation. And then it grows into something worse, right? Until it puts you in a box, right? That food is a sin. It's a sin. Why? Because the wages of sin is death, and everything that kills you is a sin. You shouldn't have been doing it. Something went wrong. Something wasn't right. Right? So, knowing this is what keeps us together. Right? This is what we follow. Right? This is controlling the reasons why we do the things we do. This is controlling the reasons why we stay away from the things we stay away from, right? And that's a grown Hebrew right there. We don't need major pain. We don't need that, right? We don't need to be reprimanded and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do. Come and go as you please. You get tired of us, see you later. You know, we don't have no image uh to hold up for anybody. We don't even have a name, you know. We don't have no image to hold up, right? And now I gotta worry about treating you right or wrong, you know, because you may make my organization look a certain way. That's vainglory, you know. And shout out to everybody who's doing that, you know. That was how things needed to be at that time. You know, that you set those things up and you did those things, right? But there has to be two sides of the spectrum. Y'all doing it like that, we're going to do it like this. And we're not doing it like this because you're doing it like that. It has nothing to do with y'all over there. It has absolutely nothing to do with y'all. You know, we're not rivaling anybody. We don't have any enemies. You know, people are calling us enemies, and I feel sorry for them, you know, because they're tarnishing their aspect of love by doing that. You know, love is more important to us. Love is top tier to us. Love to us is number one. That's number one, right? We gonna love you first, and then we gonna talk about the rest. You know, we could talk about the rest diplomatically, right? But love is gonna be first. Love is number one. You know, but it's time to bring this Sabbath back, because if the Hebrews ain't keeping it right, then who else? Who else in the earth is gonna keep it right? And shout out to the sprinkles of people who staying home, you know, and not doing, you know, what the rest of the world is doing on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Spinning it on the freeway and on the interstate, you know, breaking sweats and panting in your breath on the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Jumping up and down and doing all of this crazy stuff on the Sabbath. Shout out to the sprinkles of everybody throughout the four corners of the earth who are doing what the Most High said do, which is remember the Sabbath. Why are we remembering it? To keep it holy, right? That's why we're remembering it. We're not remembering it to say, never mind, right? Oh, I know it's the Sabbath today, but man, I really got to do this. No, that's not keeping it holy. We're remembering it so that we can keep it holy. And of course, if something happens, something goes down, you got to do something that you might not want to do on the Sabbath. That's fine. Do it. That's okay, right? But we're not leaning on grace, right? We're not blaming everything on grace, right? No, we're going to do it how the Most High originally said to do it, just because He said to do it that way, right? And I don't think He's going to mind if we do that, right? We're doing that because we want to do that. Now, if it's uncomfortable to you, go ahead, go outside, go to the store, buy something, right? Do whatever you do, you know? You have grace for that, right? If you believe you do, I guess. That's up to you, right? That's up to you to get before the Most High and see how He feels about that, right? And He gonna let you know if He forgave it or not when you get there, right? But a lot of things, though, you can watch your life and you will know how He feels about certain things. That's what I was doing before I went in there and directly and got His voice. Before that, I would just look for signs, because He would let you know signs. You know, if you think in a thought and you get a pain in your side, or you know, uh, you get an itch on your arm or something, and He's talking to you, right? If you're wondering if something is okay or not, And while you're having that thought, something tip over on the table, boom, you know, and you got to pick it up and stand it back up, you know. That's a message. He's talking to you. Discern, right? Discern. Should I do this? Should I not do this? How the Most High feel about this? And you walk into the car and you drop your keys. Beam. Pick them keys up. Go back in the house. He don't want you to do that thing, right? He's been told. That's the way I communicated with the Most High, you know, before I had my incident. And I believe it's stuff like that that had him do that to me. Definitely. You know, he articulated that, you know, everything I had did, you know, I had built something up with him, you know, and that's why he did that, you know, and him shutting my kidneys down was just his way of getting me over there, right? And now I'm back and I'm doing everything that people without kidneys don't do. How do you think I take that? He used that to pull me in there and deal with me, right? So all praises to the Most High. You know, my kidneys might fully come back. They might not. I don't care if they do or they don't, right? It doesn't matter. So don't be looking at me and feeling sorry for me and things like this, because this had to happen in order for this to happen, you know? And everybody who talking crazy about me and all of this, man, you guys are showing who you've had faith in all this time, right? Because you were looking at everything else outside of him pulling me out of this realm and dealing with me and having me come back talking this talk, a different message than what I left with, right? And I came back with correction, right? And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that under that church. That's why I left, right? And they pulled me back and they slandered me, right? Because just to have me gone, he spoke these words, just to have me gone like that looks bad on the church. And he was trying to force a reason out of me why I was leaving. And I didn't have one. And I don't have one now. I didn't have a problem with those guys. I don't have a problem with them now, right? They over there talking crazy about me right now, right? And they don't even believe it. They don't even believe what they're saying about me right now, right? Because it's not true. And they know it while they're saying it, because they made all of this up, right? They made these things up. And why are they doing this? For your mind. For their members' minds is why they're doing that over there. What is that? That's a total deceiver. And that's what I seen in 2018, right? I start seeing this, right? I start seeing the deception, right? And love does what? No ill to his neighbor. And when I saw that ill, I knew, right? But I'm hearing this story a lot. The love we have for everybody else around us, right? That's why we're staying and sitting in our hot seat, right? And I would have did it forever, man. And you know, the Most High pulled me out of here, and he let me know, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that, right? And I didn't hear a voice or nothing, but when you step into this realm, you just get filled up with feelings. You know how you could just be chilling and idle, and then you just get a thought? That's how it is when you go into that realm. It feels just like that, and it comes, and it's everything at once. Every thought, all knowledge. It's just, you know, boom. And I got there and I looked around and I looked around at all of the other beings that were like me. And I understood that we all had the exact same knowledge. and there was no reason to talk, right? There were no words, there is no language there, right? And it just feels good to exist, you know, in that realm. It's just love and joy, right? So getting back here, the closest you're gonna get to that feeling over there is to hug somebody, right? You know, but you get back here and you really want to focus on love. You really want to focus on the love, man, you know, but we're in this realm and we got love on the back burner, y'all. It's the smallest thing. You remember how it was when you came into the truth and you realized that all of the attributes and all of the things of the Most High is the least paid attention to in this earth? Well, love is that top thing. We came into all of this truth, y'all, and we switched all of these things around, but we still left love the least important, right? And now there's schisms everywhere, right? Schisms and railings. You know, what is a railing? That's what goes on the side of a staircase, right? To keep you from falling out of the stairs, right? So it keeps things outer in, a railing. You know, it's a separation, right? It's a parting off, right? The Most High separates us, not us. You know, the Most High then separated all of us, but there's some of us that have taken another railing and said, okay, we gonna part ourselves off from the rest of the holy people, right? That's what a railing is, right? Uh, but yeah, people who don't have love and people who are dogging us out, we don't have to be around those people. Ain't nothing wrong with separating from them to go be where love is, right? We have scripture telling us this, right? Paul said, I would rather be where love is, right? I'd rather eat herbs where love is than to eat an ox where no love is, right? Let's get that. Let's pull that out. Let's grab that real quick. Let's yank that out the book right fast. You know, it's okay. My fault. That wasn't Paul. That was Solomon. Proverbs 15 and 17. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. Right? I'm not sitting down at your table to eat that ox with you and you full of hatred, right? So shout out to everybody who's seeing this hate out here and ignoring that and still dealing with people, right? For all of these reasons, you know. I pray for you and I hope that, you know, when I pray, I'm praying that, you know, you be forgiven for that, you know, and that the Most High don't come down on you too hard for that, right? Because you don't know you did anything wrong today, but tomorrow you're gonna wake up one of these days, and it's gonna be hard to live with yourself. How could I have done this? You know, what was I thinking when I did that? Right? No. And guess what we eating over here? Herbs, plants, right? I'd rather eat these plants over here with this love, you know. than to eat that big old beast over there that wasn't killed right, that wasn't grown right, that wasn't fed right, right? That was prepared, that was raised and prepared by somebody who don't care about the Most High's law, right? Fed antibiotics and all kind of other crazy stuff, right? And that is a part of that flesh, right? And then you eat that flesh, and then that flesh becomes a part of you, and then you wonder why you got cancer. You wonder why you can't breathe, right? You wonder why you got inflammation. You know, you wonder why you congested. You wonder why when that flu uh hit the family, it ravishes you, right? You can't fight it off. And that's why COVID took so many of our people, fam, you know, because they didn't have the immune system built up to even deal with it. I caught it too. I caught COVID too. Praise the higher, I survived it. I survived that, but yeah, if we would have had a better immune system, man, we could have survived that. Us in the church, that didn't have to take us out, right? But better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hate therewith. Don't sit down with haters, man. Preach to them. Yeah, we preach them this love. We'll shake their hand, bump shoulders with them and stand there with them for a while and try to rub off on them. That's what we're doing. We're trying to rub off on them. If they don't see nothing else, how they ever gonna change? So we gotta let them see it. We gotta show it to them, right? And so that they know that they have an option and that they don't have to be, the way that they're being. You don't gotta be like that. It's other options out here. I'm showing it to you, right? There's another way that you can be. You don't have to be the way that you are, right? And that's why we do what we do, right? We got to show them, right? But don't hang with them, you know? Don't let them become your right hand man next to your shoulder all the time, but we're going to go into it. Why don't we do that? Because you become like him. That's why, you know? Get away from something that you don't want to become you, because because things jump off on us, right? Oh man, tell me this ain't a organic lesson. I got a few. I got a few coming to mind. Let me pull them all out then. Right? What's this scripture we looking for? Okay. First Corinthians 15 and 33 through 34. Be not deceived, right? Because we can be deceived, right? We don't see this. It's not clear, right? So when you see that, be not deceived, he's telling us that something is going on that, it's easy for you to miss and not be aware of. And what is he telling us to be aware of? Evil communications corrupt good manners, right? So don't be deceived, right? Don't think, uh, you know, these evil communications ain't gonna corrupt the good manners that are found in you, right? Yeah, you had good manners when you sat down next to him, and then when you got up and went somewhere else, somebody else said, "Man, what's up with you, man? You know your manners are different." you know, be not deceived. Don't be fooled into thinking that that can't be you. You know, that's 33. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners, right? Awake to righteousness, right? Pay attention to what righteousness is. Wake up, smell that coffee, right? And latch on to what righteousness is. Why? And sin not. That's why, you know, don't be doing things that the Most High said don't do, right? For some have not the knowledge of God, right? Some have not the knowledge of the Most High. They don't know. They don't know the things of God, right? And a lot of us profess to know the things of God. But I see you sitting next to a man all the time who out of line, and you're cool with that. You don't know it's anything wrong with that, right? For some have not the knowledge of God. You don't know that the Most High don't like that, right? And you sitting there chumming it up with him, hobnobbing, and he doing something that's, evil communications, that means something evil is being switched off between him and somebody else, or him and you, or him and somebody else, and you're watching this, right? That's going to jump on you and rub off on you. It's a lot of things going on, that I see even people with positions doing, right? And I'm just like, bad communications, right? And they corrupt good manners. Now you got a whole body of people thinking that's cool, right? I remember when I was the main one around, and it was a beautiful Hebrew community, man. Everybody wore a lot of white. And if you was cussing, man, if you posted something on Facebook that had a cuss word in it, you it was ignored. It was like you didn't even post that, right? I know it feel like, man, did anybody see my post? Yeah, we saw it, right? It was just another caliber of a Hebrew at that time, right? And then I saw when that went left, right? And I saw when the carelessness came. I seen that, right? And we wow now. I don't see no difference between the world and the truth right now, right? We wilding out right now, right? Why? For some have not the knowledge of God. And then he ends it with, I speak this to your shame. I speak this to your shame. So he's saying, yeah, I'm trying to offend you. Wowzers. Kabang, there it is. There. He wants you to feel bad. Yes, I'm saying this so that you can reflect on yourself, right? That's why I'm saying this. Not me, but him, right? Paul, right? The church of Corinth was his church. This was First Corinthians, right? So yeah, you know, that's bad communication, right? That rubs off on you. If you're around a hater, right? That's going to affect how we see this love, right? That's going to give us an uphill battle, right, to the electric blue. And for everybody who's asking about what the electric blue is, that's what I became when I shed this flesh, right? And I was looking at myself, right? Looked like an airplane nose, about this big, and I'm looking at that and I see it and I'm like, what is this? And then I moved out of it. Now I can see my whole body, the whole ball. And I'm by myself and I'm traveling through dark, right? Something is pulling me, and it's the love on the other side, and it's pulling me maybe far, far away sometime, somewhere, far out of space, right? And it's pulling me, right? And I'm in my conscious mind and I'm going through this, right? And I move out of myself and I'm in an electric blue ball. So when I talk about the electric blue, that's what I'm talking about, right? And I travel like this for a while, right? And then I look up and then I'm going towards something that looked like how I'm going at this sky right now. And I'm going at that, right? And when I get close up on it, I see that it's a whole bunch of balls like me, right? A whole bunch of them, right? And they're all electric blue. So when I use terminology like that, that's what I'm talking about. No, there's no scripture on it. Not that I have found yet, right? But it should be in the book, because if you get to this love and if you let love ravish you the way it did me, all right, and you develop the heart that the Most High had given me, you're gonna see this, right? So it should be in the scriptures, right? But it wasn't given, to a man to write, right? We could get that scripture too, right? That tells us where scripture comes from, right? It comes from men that were inspired by the spirit of the Most High, right? I bet you every prophet in this book know I ain't lying. I bet you that, right? So yeah, that's what it is, right? Second address, the glory of the Lord. I felt that. I marveled at the glory of the love of the Lord and all that, Uh yeah. But hanging with a hater will interrupt that, right? How much hate can you hear all day? You can't unhear it, right? That's what his eyes is trained to see, a reason to hate somebody, right? And now he didn't put that on your mind and you fighting it, but you're looking at that person and you saying, man, maybe that's true, Maybe he is that way, right? He's blinding your eyes, right? That's what pride and hatred do, right? We could go to that scripture too. They say a prideful man, he hate his brother, you know, and that hate and that pride blinds his eyes, right? So all of y'all that's hanging around them haters, right? Proverbs 22 and 24 through 25. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go. Why? Why don't you go with him? 25. Lest thou learn his ways. That's why, because you're going to become like him and get a snare to thy soul. What's the snare to thy soul? It's an interruption against the electric blue. That's what it is. Ain't that what I just said? I didn't even know that was going to say that this clear like that. It just repeated what I just said. Don't tell me I didn't come back here and read a different book. And I didn't plan this either, right? Y'all see me typing these scriptures in here live as I think of them. Yikes. What just happened? That's crazy. Let's read it again. Make no friendship with an angry man, right? That's Solomon telling us this. Who is Solomon? Considered the wisest man in this book while he was writing all of this stuff. He had a bad end, but while he was living, he was wise, right? The Most High gave him, a choice to have whatever he wanted, and he asked for wisdom. And that's what we're reading right now. Some of that wisdom, right? Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, right? Lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul, right? I love it, you know. But it's a blessed thing to be doing on the Sabbath, man. This is what I'd rather be doing, man. And just taking it easy and out here in these elements, man. This is beautiful, man. And that's what I want to have us do, y'all. Instead of being in some building, y'all go somewhere, do something. Find a canyon somewhere and kneel down in that. You know what I'm saying? Kneel down and read y'all Bibles, you know, somewhere like this. The park wasn't a bad idea. I remember when we was in the park, we didn't have a building yet. We talked about the park like it was a step down. But all praises, man. Be in them trees and that grass, that greenery, that fresh air blowing through, you know what I'm saying? But unless it's raining or something, then go indoors. Switch it up that day. But yeah. It's another thing, man. We got to be more of a natural people, man. Hebrews, man, Israelites, we a natural people, man. You know what I'm saying? Praise the Most High. Matthew 24:20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Right? Why did it say that? Why is that telling us that? Why shouldn't our flight? And that's talking about us fleeing, y'all. That's talking about us getting up out of some coming danger, right? That's coming. So this ain't happened yet. So when this does happen, we are still expected to be keeping this Sabbath. And we're expected to be keeping it where, uh Matthew is hoping, that we don't have to flight on the Sabbath day, right? That we don't have to get out of Dodge. This is the scripture, where it's talking about don't come off the roof and go in your house to collect nothing. No, jump off your roof to hightail it, right? That's what this is talking about. And it's saying, I that that happens not on the Sabbath day, right? We're expected to be at home, right? And of course, in Acts, we get a lot of those scriptures where they're doing a lot on the Sabbath day. And that's up to you. Do that. That's fine. Do that. Right? Run around all Sabbath long if that's what you want to do. Even if you're with us, do that. Right? And then rest on Sunday, and keep a Sunday Sabbath, right? What's Sabbath? Rest, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing on the Sabbath day is resting, right? So if you're resting on Sunday, that's your Shabbat. You all lazy, right? You done ran around all Sabbath and now it's Sunday and you ain't got no energy. You done worked all week and ran around all day on the Sabbath. Now Sunday, you're sitting still, right? And a lot of us are busy on Sundays, because Sunday is really, the only day you got left to do all of this stuff, before you start back over Monday. So a lot of us can't even sacrifice the Sunday to rest, right? So you don't rest Sunday and then you start your work week again Monday. You know what's going to happen? And I'm saying this from experience and from seeing it in myself and others. By the time Wednesday comes, you gonna be ready to fall over, okay? You're gonna be beat up. You know, your joints might be in pain and all of that. You might wonder why you got all of these back pains and muscle pains. The back of your neck is tight and you find yourself doing this a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get your rest, right? Get your rest. You know, I've been on this walk since 2008, right? That's 17 years. I think I'm somebody who's qualified to talk about this. What say you? Right? Because everybody is still trying to make me a babe, and I'm not ready for this, and I'm not, you know what I mean? When I raised half of your leaders, okay? Half of your leaders that you did give positions and allow to climb your ranks, okay? I remember, right, when they was calling me because they didn't want to call you, okay? Because they were scared to call you, right? What to have them call me and not you? Love. Love, right? And non-judgmental. That's what. Okay. I'm ordained by the Most High, Ahaya, the ever mighty, the Ah. Okay. Praise his holy name. Right. In the name of his son. Right. Powered by his mother, who is the Holy Spirit, the Rawak, the Quadash, Kamawaf. Huh? Wisdom. Matthew 24:20, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter. Man, wouldn't that be hard? It's the winter time and you got to hit it. Neither on the Sabbath day, right? That's going to be hard. Man, it's the Sabbath day. I'm supposed to be resting, but I got to hit this. I got to hit this hightail, right? Why would it be telling us that? Precept, Exodus 16:9. See, for that the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, he giveth you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man where in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the seventh day. You're supposed to be at home. Originally, okay? Now, a bunch of things happen further than that, right? And then we want to switch it up and flip it all up and do the same way we could eat that pork and not fall over, but still die from health problems. You cannot keep this Sabbath and you can fall over Wednesday dead, right? Right? Popping coffee. You know, coffee lasts for a hot second and then there's a crash, right? You suffering, man. If I could just make it home, that's the longest drive home ever, right? You get home, the kids and the wife, everybody, you know, it's a madhouse, and you just trying to just to the bed, right? You know, telling you, That's wisdom right there, right? It's a blessing from the Most High. Now, see, a lot of people gonna hear me saying this and they gonna hate it because they don't see the jewel in being rejuvenated all week and not having to deal with that, right? What kind of person suffering don't teach them no lesson, right? What even is that? What do we even call that when somebody keep doing the same redundant thing that they're suffering for, right? Wisdom is not for everybody, right? But bless all of us who have ears to hear, right? And who have a mind to think and can weigh things in the balance and say, okay, it's a better idea to do this thing over here, right? Because we can't see. Everybody can't see, y'all. And we suffer nonstop sacrifice and suffering. And I would hate life too if I was like that, right? And that's why they're in a bad mood whenever we encounter them, right? That's why. you know, Father have mercy on them, you know. But I mean, that can't be uh the reality for everyone, right? And that's why it's special to be holy and set apart. Everybody's not doing what you're doing. Everybody, right? The knowledge of the holy is understanding, right? Let's get that, right? The knowledge of the holy is understanding, right? Man. Proverbs 9 and 10. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom, right? If we ain't scared of the Most High, right? That's why you're not wise, because you're not listening to what the creator of everything is telling you to do because you ain't scared of him, right? And the knowledge of the holy is understanding, right? So you're holy, right? And you have knowledge. That knowledge that's in your head is understanding. You understand things. You look at this earth and you understand it. That means you're not speculating, right? And boy, are you benefiting, right? Boy, are you benefiting off all of these things that you know, right? The knowledge of the holy. What the set apart person knows is what this is talking about. And it's understanding. You understand the foundation of the earth, right? Because you're getting it from who? The person who made the foundation of the earth. I am. Yeah, right? Is this starting to make sense? Yikes. We are at an hour and 13 minutes, y'all. How we get up here? It feel like 15 minutes. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to run over like that. I do apologize. We passed the 1 hour. We passed the 107. We done doubled up the oh 07. We at 114. But I pretty much talked about everything I need to talk about, y'all. We just kicking it. That's all we doing. We just hanging out, you know? That's all we doing. We just hanging out. We got a Cashapp going, y'all. Hit that Cashapp. If y'all got something y'all could throw at us, you know what I'm saying? If you want to bless us, you know. Locations now, we're in Southern California. We're in Northern California. We're in Arizona. We're in Vegas. We're in New Mexico. We're in Colorado. We're in Houston. We're in Dallas and Fort Worth. We're in North Carolina. We're in Georgia. We're in Florida. And we're in New Edition. We're in Virginia. Okay. Uh Petersburg being the closest busy area. Okay, we're in Virginia now. Uh and all praises to the most high. We have two separate plots of land in South Africa, right? So we need somebody to go out to South Africa for us. You know, if anybody is looking at going out there, you know, you're welcome to go out there. I don't really need it right now, but some of y'all might. You see, I'm not trying to take nothing from nobody, y'all. I'm trying to give. Have I not been trying to give? I've been giving, y'all. I ain't been taking nothing from nobody, right? And the things that I'm receiving are from people who are giving it. They have it to offer, you know. And I don't know why it's so hard to believe that I've been doing this work for this long. There's people out there who have wanted nothing for the past decade, but just to bless me somehow, you know? What's wrong with that? You know? The Cashapp is the same thing. Plant Vineyards 144, right? Starting with that $sign. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got on the wrong side of this, man. You know, for those who hate me, I'm sorry you winded up over there, man. I'm sorry. I really am sorry, you know. And I still love you, you know, and ain't no love lost, right? I'm not over here feeling no way about nobody, okay? Because that's gonna affect how my life and death goes. I can't afford that. Oh, you'll be in South Africa tomorrow? Yeah, anybody could go check this out, y'all. You know, let's see what they talking about. And if everything is A1, I mean, South Africa ain't like over here. You know, you can put your thing together, man. You know, I don't think you need permits, you know, to build yourself a little shack in South Africa. It's a lot of shacks over there. We see them, right? But yeah, you know, you could put you some things together and, you know, we could just spread out across this land. You know, I have two separate plots of land that people are giving me. You know, I gotta check back into the acreage and see what that's about. See what the acreage is. I forgot, and I don't want to give no false number. I don't want to gal you, huh? But yeah, I gotta look back at the acreage. I remember that one was real big, and the other one was relatively, I wouldn't say small, but it was some acres. You know, the other one was a lot of acres, right? And yeah, it's available. It's available for us, y'all. You know, all praises to the Most High. Hit the lemon water. This natural diuretic, right? Health is wealth, y'all. Wealth ain't wealth, right? Let's look at y'all. Let's look at y'all a little bit. Nothing but the ruach. Let it flow. All praises to a higher. Shalom, Sister Lee. Good to see you, my sister. Video call at Gathering 144. Deetra. I'm sorry, Deetra. I don't, you know, because ain't no love over there, you know. I ain't going into that lion's den over there. No, no. You know, no, thank you. You know, uh, I'm willing to speak to any man. No, I'm willing to speak to any man, any respectful man. But nobody's gonna holler at me and come sideways at me, and I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna listen to that, and I'm gonna try to reason to you. It sounds like to me your ears are already closed, and that's the only reason why I don't want to talk to you. You're already mad and livid. Cool down first, and approach me in a natural tone, and then we can deal. But if not, that's hatred. If every time I see you, you got that attitude with me, then what attitude do you have in my absence? That is hatred. Okay, you're a red ball. Okay, you're the electric red or yellow or something like this, or them colors that they tell you to stay away from in the earth because they trigger things, which are red and yellow, right? Rachel Smith, I've been getting my teaching from your songs till this day, family. All praises to the Most High. All praises. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? Cause what is that? 10 and 17. Which 10:17 is that? Right? Which 10? I know it's 10:17. What Romans? Romans 10 and 17. So faith come so then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, right? If you can hear it, it can feed you faith. Okay, you can blow your faith up off of that thing. And what is faith? Faith is your level, your level of belief in God, the level in which you believe in God. That's what faith is. Okay, we all have faith, right? Even if we have no faith, that's your faith, right? Your faith is none. Okay, some of us have a faith where I believe God, I know He's up there, but I can't see Him, right? And it's not gonna stop me from doing 95% of the things I want to do. I'm still gonna do it, knowing that that God is watching me, right? And that I gotta answer to Him at my death. Okay, that's a level of faith. And then there's a level of faith where you see Him up there, right? And you feel His eyes on you, and it governs everything you lift your hand to do. And it's like, wait a minute, you got them big red eyes on you, you know. Oh, wait a minute, okay. And it controls the things you do. That's a heavy faith, right? And I don't need faith anymore now. I went and I seen Him, right? Faith is out the window to me, right? Read 1 Corinthians 13, right? Read that. It goes out the window when you step into that realm, right? And even though I'm back here, it doesn't take away the fact that I stepped into that realm, right? Everything that it says that happens at that moment, I felt, and I came back like that, So, yeah, that's your faith, right? But what gives us that? Words. So, does it matter if it comes from music? No. Does it matter if two men are arguing? You know, People act like nothing can come out of two men that are having an argument. Faith come by hearing, right? If you can hear it, it can feed you faith, right? It can feed you faith, you know? So stop letting people dictate where you can and can't get your faith from, you know. I was saddened to see Elder Ricard make a whole Sabbath lesson on what's going on. Work, I think you meant to say with you, Brother Bronze. I hope his pride doesn't completely shut him down from the rest of us. He's still our bro. Yeah, I couldn't control that, y'all. I couldn't control what he did. I couldn't control what he's doing. You know, I never could talk to him. You know, I've spent the last decade trying to show him that I don't mean him no harm. You know, I was so excited and chipper before I met him, you know, and I was excited. And I thought we had the most high in common, you know, because I am crazy about a higher, right? And he's the one who laced me a lot. You know, he takes more credit than he deserves. You know, he didn't give me all of what he claims to have given me, but you know, he did give me a lot. So I was excited. And when I met him and we looked at each other, and I seen something else, y'all. And I don't want to go into what I saw, you know. But yeah, I remember like feeling like, what is this? Like, what is that? And that was really like, you know, some of my first devastating disappointments in the truth, man. You had a lot of disappointments, but that was one of the strong ones. That was like a faith shaker. Like, what is this? And I was crushed, man. And all I've been doing since then is like building back, you know, building back, becoming stronger and stronger. And then, of course, we have 2023, you know. So I know the Most High is with me, y'all. The Most High is with me, right? And that's another reason why he did what he did, you know, to strengthen me, and so that I wouldn't fall off, and that I could be stronger, you know, and I could face the things that I have to face, because I don't have a leader anymore, y'all, and I don't need him, you know, because the Most High is directly above me now, right? You guys don't understand what happens to you, and what becomes your mind, and what becomes your intention, and the whole reason why I'm back, you know. It can cancel any minute. I see death different now. I don't see death the same anymore, right? I can have my car accident now. Whatever needs to happen, you know, and that's why I didn't have time to sit in that seat, you know. I got to do this. I got to put this word out here for y'all, right? And all of the Bible trivia doesn't mean anything. That's not going to do, that ain't doing nothing for you. Your love, your level of love and charity, family, that's what's going to save you, right? If we're depending on how righteous we are and how well we followed Christ and how well we kept this law, if we lean on that, we are toast, right? Now, we can't just love alone and purposely mess up on the rest. No, we got to do our best with the law and the gospel, and then love will surely catch the rest. Surely. Now, if you think you're just going to adapt this love and not do nothing else, you're toast. If you think you're going to try to fight with everything else and skip the love, you're toast. We need both, right? And they're going to pan out. And when your heart stops, you're going to jump all in them realms and you're going to go straight into that electric blue, right? Praise the higher. That's why he brought me back here to tell you that, right? And everybody else who would rather be somewhere else than to be here hearing that, they have chosen in front of you, right in front of your face. They have chosen, right? What that scripture say? in Luke 16. It said, nah, I ain't sending you back there. They wouldn't believe that you've been here and are sent back there from here. They have Moses and the prophets. That's what he told him. They have Moses and the prophets. Let them deal with the Bible, right? Because they ain't gonna believe you. But here it's very special in this last day and in this Hebrew community that the Father sent me back with this information. He gave us this. He granted us that, right? He granted us this information. That's big, family. That's huge. And who did he choose to do it? The person in the gathering of Christ church that was the doormat for the gathering of Christ church, right? A doormat. You know how much I had to hear it in my ear all day, every day for so many years. How great I am, right? You know how tired I am of hearing that? I was tired of hearing that in 2015, 14, 16, okay? I've been tired of that for a long. You can't flatter me, okay? You know how long I was hearing that and shaking it off like, nah, I ain't nobody. Stop talking like that, you know? And just a doormat, right? Overlooked, right? The Most High had to pull me out of this earth, y'all, right? And now I'm gone. And you see, they can't think about nothing else. They're wasting their Sabbath in strife right now, right? Man, you couldn't say that for a Wednesday. You should have spoke about something peaceful today and did that on a Wednesday or something, or took that over to Patreon. No, he ain't gonna do that on Patreon. He need the public to see that, right? And he couldn't have it done on Wednesday while you're at work. Why? Because he needs you to hate Brother Bronze's guts. And what did that scripture say? You're going to get a snare to your soul. He is destroying y'all. He is destroying your electric blue. That's what he's doing. And that's dangerous, y'all. I know I said I was going to leave him alone. I wasn't going to expose him. But now I'm seeing the danger in what he's doing over there. You know what I'm saying? And I might one more time take an hour on another day, not on our Sabbath, but take a day and just break down not him, but facts and the risk of certain behaviors in the ways we look at our brethren and sisters. You know what I'm saying? That's a teaching of love, believe it or not. That's a teaching of love, right? That's a teaching of love if we're showing people how to feel and in the wrong ways to feel or not, and in the snares to watch out for, because feelings are spirits, y'all, right? That's all the spirit is a feeling. It enters into you and it alters your behavior, right? That's a spirit, right? So, yeah, hit the lemon water real quick. But man, it's been a blessed Sabbath, y'all. I'm gonna get off of here and chill on these hills and pull out my book and just read and just lay around with my family like we supposed to do today. uh I ain't figured out no food yet. I got some salad in there. I might just bust some of that. and we just gonna hang out here, looking, look to the hills which cometh thy help, right? Look at my heels out here, y'all, you know, and just hang out for the Sabbath, man. It's a nice breeze going on right here. The sun ain't too hot. Chilling, you know, like my Ak Fred say, chilling on the Sabbath, right? I won't even be answering my phone, he said. Praise the higher. Love y'all, family, the big L word, right? As I part from y'all, right? Let me get one. Let me get an L word out there, right? Let me get the 143. Can I see it? I just need to see it. Is there any love out there? Right? Kabang. Right? Let's spread that. Let's spread that, I am. Right? Find the angriest person you could find and love them. Right? The confused people. If you're confused, love is sobering. Right? If you hurt, love is sobering. Right? Whatever the emotion, love is going to trump it. I guarantee you. Right? First Corinthians chapter 13. As I part off of here, y'all. Shalom. We're gonna talk soon. Hit that Cashapp if you want to. If you don't want to, ain't no love lost. Right? Uh Hit the Plant Vineyards 144 at gmail.com for any reason, right? And oh yeah, not next week, but the week after that, we gonna go live with Brother Jerry and let him school us on the grant money, right? And how we could go about getting started with that, right? Because it was so many of y'all. I'm like, man, I would have to miss sleep answering this, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go live not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, right? I'm gonna go up there with him, and we just gonna go live. And however long it takes, that's how long we're gonna be there. So write down all y'all questions and be well versed in them when we put him before this screen, you know. And he gonna tell you everything that you need to know. And I'm getting one too. I think I'm gonna get two, right? I'm gonna do the farms, and I want a garage too to paint my lowriders, and I might go into business doing that, and that's how you do it. You open up your shop, and as a stipulation, they'll have you hire like an autistic person or something, and you'll just have an autistic person come through there and sweep and mop, and you know what I mean. And that'll be your stipulation for the grant and things like that, but yeah, that's what I want to do. And as I think of more things, I'm gonna get more grants, but man, this is our 40 acres in our mule, fam. They're not gonna just give it to us, right? You're gonna have to be blessed with the knowledge, to go in there and get it, and it's free money, and you know we on our way. And that's another thing, that's another thing. People don't want me showing you this, right? Because now you ain't trapped at your job and tithing for them, right? It's messing with their pockets, y'all. That's what Christ did to the Pharisees. He was messing up their money, right? But we'll get into that on another note. It's deep, y'all. It's so many levels of this, right? And it's just gonna keep manifesting in one direction, right? And it's a direction that's making us wiser and wiser. And you're gonna see all of these people wind up with us, right? Because I told you, time is a snitch. It's gonna tell, right? Cashapp don't work. Okay, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Uh, we'll figure it out. Or use you could use this one too. That's my other one. Oh, my fault. That was the one for the clothing all these years, you know. And the clothing is back on deck too, y'all. So y'all can start ordering that again if y'all want to, right? But shalom, y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sabbath. You know, I appreciate y'all kicking it with me and spending this time with me because I know something else is going on somewhere else right now. And it's real humbling, you know, that you guys were here with me, you know, during this. I didn't expect to have but 3-4 people over here right now. So all praises to the Most High. He's speaking loud, right? He didn't tell me what to look forward to. He just told me what to do, you know, and he showed me a lot of the future. But this, he wanted me to be shocked when I seen it, you know. He wanted it to surprise me when I saw the outcome, you know. So all praises to the Most High, fam. I love you, and I speak to you soon. All right. Shalom, y'all.